Okay, we are continuing in our intro to Kabbalah with Kabbalah concepts, and we're going to try to talk today about get a little deeper into the matters, and we're going to talk about material, shape, start talking about body, soul, light, vessels, and so on and so forth. And we've been talking recently about reality, and let's start with this then. So therefore, reality itself, all reality that we have and all its details, it's really compiled from two main ingredients. One is chomer, which is material, and the other one is tsura, shape. So we have material and we have shape. The material is the chomer, the material is the gashmiut, is physical, and the tsura, when we refer to it in terms of our concept, the tsura is ruchniut, spiritual. A good example for that will be man himself. So we are able to distinguish and to identify the human body, the shape of the body, which is the physical reality of the person. And then on the other hand, we are able to distinguish and to call upon the neshama of the person, the soul of the person, which is his spiritual shape or spiritual form that he has in him. Oh, that's the so when, for example, when we say a hero, a mighty man, right, or a truthful person, or a brave person, and so on and so forth, we could see the body of the person, which is the chomer, the physical form, the physical shape of the person, and therefore we are also able to identify his heroism, his braveness, and so on and so forth, which is the spiritual aspect of him, which what we call chunot nefesh, the spiritual aspects of him inside, which is internally, which is the truth, and that's the truth. He's a brave person, or or he is a liar, or he's a coward, or anything like that. In Kabbalah, we say that, for example, if you use the word gvura, right, gibor, mighty, or brave, so the gvura sits upon the shape of the body, the shape of the body. That what is called in Kabbalah hitlapshut is like getting dressed. It's like when I'm mitlabesh, I'm putting my garments on, I'm putting clothes on. That causes a change in the person itself, that the gvura comes about him, that makes him do different things. So if, for example, the person was weak until now, as soon as the gvura, the heroism, the braveness, uh, set upon him, therefore he became a Yesh Gibor. So therefore he changed completely. It's the same body, but a different quality to him. Now he's brave. Now he's a hero. Now he's and so on and so forth. Another thing that we talk about in Kabbalah is that there is no chomer, there's no physical without tzura, without shape, and there's no tzura without chomer. There's no shape without material. So even if we say that both aspects are really far from each other as a east to west, however, there are the combination of both gives a perfection, and that's what gives it the harmony. For example, a human, a person, is a body and a soul combined together. They really complement one another. When you take the body and you take the soul out of the body, you have basically a slab of meat. It's no more than that. And a soul without a body cannot do anything. That's why you need both of them to really complement and to complete one another. And therefore, that's when we say a person is truthful, the person is a hero, that only can come into play when there is that dressing up or that combination of that quality on the physical body, and on the other hand, the physical body acts its actions only when it combines, or the way he acts is depends on what is actually dressed up on him right now. And therefore, you know, you could change the person, or the person could be changed based on what is upon him now. And as much as in person we find a complete unification of a combination of body and shape, or material and shape, as we said before, of spiritual and physical together, so is it true to any other object that exists in reality, whether it's stones, whether it's trees, whether it's animals, or whether it's humans. And we have a hint for that when we have the opening words of the Shulchan Aruch, which refers to a certain qualities that we should allow ourselves to develop in order to acquire a full spectrum of what we call Avodat Hashem. And that is Askanamer, Gibor Ka'ari, and so on and so forth. These are qualities in which you should have on you, or allow them to develop in you, in order to be able to reach a complete form of Avodat Hashem. And we need to realize that. That's why we should not only judge a person based on its physical appearance, but also, or should I say, the physical appearance, first of all, is a platform that allows a certain a bestowing of certain spiritual qualities and quantities upon him to be able to execute a certain task or given task. Therefore, we should not judge a person based or an object based on how they look, but because they will be only judging half of it, right? And not looking at the other aspect, which is the spiritual action, which is the tzura. So when we say, for example, the tzura of a Talmid Chacham, a shape of a scholar, a Torah scholar, we don't refer to his physical appearance. The tzura, using this word, the tzura of a Talmid Chacham, would be the way he acts, or the way his spiritual qualities come to play a role. When we say a tzura of a Jew, we don't refer to a physical appearance of a Jew. That means whatever that image is in your head. Most likely, we all been to a certain extent being propagated by anti-Semitism. So if I'm going to ask you how a Jew looks, tell me, oh, a guy with a big nose and glasses and side. That's of course, and by the way, we're all affected by that. But we are not talking about this. The tzura of a Yehudi is the qualities of the soul that come to reflect through the human body, through the material, which is the body that comes to go like this. So the tzura of the Jew, it's not only how you look, and it most likely is not how you look, it's also how you act and how you think and so on and so forth. So the qualities of the soul, that's the tzura of a Jew. The tzura of a Talmid Chacham is one, tzura of a Jew is another, and so on and so forth. So therefore, if you pay only, you pay great importance to the external, you miss out about 50%, if not more, of what this person is really about. And if you look at for example, at a hero, what a hero is. A hero is not like we have in our world, there's an image of a Rambo kind of a person with popping muscles of steroids and, veins going out like this, and it's all like, sculpted bodies. That's not a hero. And a hero, if you take the Kabbalistic approach of definition of reality and the division between body and soul, between spiritual and materialistic form, and it's completing one another, then you can understand how a person becomes a hero. Because you can have a guy, 155 pounds, 5'7", skinny dude, but all of a sudden he does a heroic thing. How could this be explained that he does a heroic thing? It means that at that moment, the gvura, whatever comes from that attribute of gvura, which is the force of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, the way it's being reflected, it's almost like a prism of if we're talking about the sferot, it's almost like a prism of color that comes. The color the light that has everything in it. And then there is a prism that is created to really reflect different colors or different shades of that light. That light includes itself red and ultra red and violet and ultraviolet and so on and so forth. So the quality of Gvura means that the aspect of heroism of whatever Gibor is comes to reflect upon him, and that's what made him become a hero or become a Gibor. But without that, the Gvura needs a Chomer, materialism, to actually get it going, and the other way around. Without it, it's just a body. So, but that exists. Not only those qualities exist all in nature, and the great inyan is to see it. Where does it come to play a role? It comes to play a role in, for example, if concept. And I'm going to borrow a lot of things, and I'm not claiming myself to be a doctor or claiming myself to be a Chinese herbalist and so on and so forth. But I can use these things to better understand concepts that otherwise I would not understand. So, for example, if I'm talking about certain attributes, or let's say, for example, of food, right? So I can talk about foods. Certain foods are more, if I call it more yin or more yang, or certain foods are hot, or certain foods are cold. I'm not talking about temperature. I'm talking about qualities, and that's what we don't understand when we use, terms. For example, in the Gemara, that uses terms of food being hot or food being cold or food makes heat on the body. We always look at it from a Western point of view, that this acknowledges qualities, spiritual qualities for food. And you can find it over there. So if I use that makes me understand. For example, certain foods are, and the Ari, by the way, talks about it. The Ari is a whole section that it talks about different qualities of food and what do they create and where is this from and the types of klipa that is on them. Knowing that, I'll be able to treat certain conditions given certain foods. So, for example, if a person has, and again, I am not a doctor, it's a disclaimer. I'm not saying this is a substitute for medicine and so on and so forth and all the other garbage. But, I'm talking about concepts. So let's say, for example, if a person has a cold, right, in his body, that means this body is cold now. So therefore, I need to increase the heat of the body. So I need to eat food that will increase the heat of the body because that represents din. And this one represents this one, and this one is, and so on and so forth, based on the condition. And that's why they had a better understanding of what reality is, not looking at the way we look at it. The way we look at it, we give ourselves too much credit we don't really deserve. So we disacknowledge this altogether. We disacknowledge spirit or anything spiritual in our lives altogether. Along the line, when they drew the line, taking out everything like this and replace spirit and spirituality with science, that's what we get when we get today. And that is a mistake. That's why the closest thing for that will be in concept. And I'm not saying in essence we'll be looking at certain teachings that are foreign to us, and because that it's not because that they invented the wheel and so on and so forth. There was knowledge that existed in all people. We took it to higher levels, and then we brought it to such a high level, and then we lost it. And that includes the understanding of spiritual qualities of all surroundings around us in reality. Every single thing is a combination of Chomer and Tzura, of a spiritual quality and a physical quality. And it will really affect us tremendously to our benefit if we'll start to acknowledge that and start learning more about it and then apply this to this. First of all, I think the first thing that we're going to achieve by that is becoming less judgmental and more willing to accept people, because we'll be willing to accept people who, quote unquote, don't look as good as we think we are, and we'll be able to look further deeper into who is the person, and therefore will abandon the differences that we have based on shape, on the tzura, and the chomer. So, for example, I'll be willing to accept people who are not exactly like me. whether it's going to be people of different race or different looks or different origins and so on and so forth. We'll understand things like that. Okay, and that's something for us to, to internalize. The main reason that I believe that we become so racist is because we disacknowledge the spiritual quality of other humans. And ultimately, this is all B'Tselem Elokim Yatzar et Adam. We all created, Jews and non-Jews alike. We're all created in the image of God, right? And we need to understand and accept it and appreciate that. Until that point, I don't think that we'll be able to accept our fellow Jew. Because once you start divisioning into that, like for example, arguments like, let's say I don't accept, black people, or I don't accept yellow people. What would be my incentive to accept a Jew that is a different color than me? Judaism is not about the chomer, because you could be a complete, and I'm using the term in terms of what they used to use, a complete Caucasian or complete, Negro or complete this one. Doesn't make any difference to me. Your color of skin does not make any difference to me. That's only the outside. That doesn't mean that I'm the inside. If I'm buying a car, right? Arguments like, let's say I'm buying a Corolla. Does it really make a difference to me if the Corolla is red or the Corolla is white? Or the Corolla? Yes, if you're a fool, you'll be paying more money for color, for the chitzoniyut of that. If, for example, I'll be able to buy a car that's going to be, let's say, 5% cheaper because it's white and not metallic red, so what do I care? It's all chitzoni. I care about the engine. I care about the transmission. I care about the inside of the car, not the outside of the car. And so are we. However, the inside is important. Together, it creates a harmony. That's what allows us to do the job. And that's the concept that we, behind what we have in Kabbalah in terms of that. Again, if you have questions, you can continue reaching out to us. But do me a favor, do not reach into my private email. Sometimes things come from a certain email and, I forward it and then it gets forwarded to other people. I don't need my private email to be reached out like this. Please, guys, there's plenty of time. You want to ask me questions? Not a problem. Those of you who have my private email, you can reach me. And those of not, just use rabbigaon@gmail.com. And I would greatly appreciate it that we have people that supposedly on a regular basis check those emails. And if there's any questions, they forward it to me. However, there's a limit to everything because the chomer is limited, and so is the neshama. So, Rabbatai, please, you have questions at rabbigaon@gmail.com. So far, so good. I hope to see you soon. Again, I'll see you in a little while. Thank you.